Why does a slave ever love? Why let the heart hold on to things that can be taken away at any moment by violence? But when a person hurts you without caring about the pain they cause, it is hard to obey. I did not think this way when I was a young girl. Young people are young. I loved, and I hoped that the dark clouds around me would go away and show some light. I forgot that in the land where I was born, the darkness was too strong for the light to shine. It was a land where laughter is not happiness and thoughts are not clear, where words do not feel like a language, where people are not truly human, where cries answer to curses and screams to hits, and each person suffers in their own way. There was a young man who lived nearby. He was a free-born black man and worked as a carpenter. We knew each other as children. We liked each other, and he asked me to marry him. I loved him with all the feelings of a young girl's first love. But when I remembered that I was a slave, and the laws did not allow slaves to marry, my heart became sad. My lover wanted to buy me, but I knew Dr. Flint was too selfish and controlling to allow that. I was sure he would be against it, and I had no hope from my mistress either. She would have been happy to get rid of me, but not in that way. She would have felt better if I had been sold to another state far away, but if I married nearby, I would still be in her husband's control, just like before. A slave's husband cannot protect her. Also, my mistress, like many others, thought that slaves should not have their own families. She believed that slaves were only there to serve the master's family. One time, I heard her scold a young slave girl who said a black man wanted to marry her. "I will punish you very badly," she said, "if I ever hear you talk about that again. Do you think I will let you take care of my children while you are with that man's children?" The girl she yelled at had a mixed-race child, but the father did not claim the child. The poor black man who loved her would have been proud to accept his child. I had many thoughts running through my mind. I did not know what to do. More than anything, I wanted to protect my lover from the insults that hurt me so deeply. I talked with my grandmother about it and told her some of my fears. I didn't dare tell her everything. She had suspected that something was wrong for a long time, and if I confirmed her fears, I knew it would cause a big problem that would ruin all my hopes. This love gave me strength through many hard times, and I didn't want to lose it. There was a woman who lived nearby, a close friend of Dr. Flint, who often came to visit the house. I respected her a lot, and she had always shown that she cared about me. My grandmother thought this lady could have some influence over the doctor. So I went to this woman and told her my story. I said I knew that the fact my lover was a free man would be a big problem, but he wanted to buy me. I believed that if Dr. Flint agreed, my lover would pay a fair price. The lady also knew that Mrs. Flint did not like me, so I suggested that my mistress might agree to sell me, which would make her happy to be rid of me. The lady listened to me kindly and promised to do everything she could to help me. She talked to the doctor, and I think she really tried to help me, but it didn't work. I was so afraid of my master now. I thought he would call for me at any minute. But the day went by and I didn't hear anything from him. The next morning, someone came with a message, "Master wants to see you in his study." I found the door open a little, and I stood there for a moment, looking at the man who thought he had the right to control my body and soul. I went in and tried to stay calm. I didn't want him to see how hurt I was inside. He looked at me with a look that seemed to say, "I might kill you right now." Finally, he broke the silence, and we both felt some relief. "So, you want to get married, do you?" he said. "And to a free black man?" "Yes, sir," I replied. "Well, I will show you who is in charge here. If you must have a husband, you can marry one of my slaves." What a terrible situation it would be to be the wife of one of his slaves, even if I didn't love anyone else. I said, "Don't you think, sir, that a slave can have a choice about who she marries? Do you think all men are the same to her?" "Do you love this black man?" he asked suddenly. "Yes, sir," I said. "How dare you say that to me?" he shouted, very angry. After a short pause, he added, "I thought you respected yourself more than to care about someone like him." I replied, "It is right and good for us to love each other, sir, and he wouldn't love me if he didn't think I was a good woman." He jumped at me like a wild animal and hit me hard. It was the first time he had ever hit me, and I couldn't control my anger. When I felt better, I said, "You hit me because I told you the truth." "I hate you." There was silence for a few minutes. Maybe he was thinking about how to punish me, or maybe he wanted me to think about what I had said and to whom I had said it. Finally, he asked, "Do you know what you just said?" "Yes, sir, but it was your behavior that made me say it." "Do you know that I have the right to do anything I want with you? I can even kill you if I want to. You have tried to kill me, and I wish you had. But you have no right to do whatever you want to me." Silence. He shouted in a loud, angry voice, "By heavens, girl, you're forgetting who you are. Are you crazy? If you are, I will make you come to your senses. Do you think any other master would accept what I have accepted from you this morning? Many masters would have killed you right then. How would you like to go to jail for being disrespectful?" "I know I was disrespectful, sir," I replied. "But you made me do it. I couldn't help it. And as for jail, I would have more peace there than I have here." "You deserve to go there," he said, "and be treated so badly that you would forget what peace even means. It would teach you a lesson. But I am not ready to send you to jail yet, even though you don't appreciate my kindness. You have made my life difficult. I wanted to make you happy, but you have been very ungrateful. Still, even though you don't understand my kindness, I will give you one more chance, Linda. If you behave and do what I say, I will forgive you and treat you like before. But if you disobey me, I will punish you like I punished the worst slave on my plantation. Never talk about that man again. Do you understand? I'll teach you about marriage and free black men. Now go, and let this be the last time I talk to you about this." Reader, have you ever hated someone? I hope not. I only hated once, and I hope I never hate again. Someone called hate the feeling of hell, and I believe that's true. For 2 weeks, the doctor didn't talk to me. One morning, as he walked through the hallway to leave the house, he managed to push a note into my hand. I decided to read it so he wouldn't read it to me later. The note said he was sorry for hitting me, but he also said it was my fault. He hoped I now understood that making him angry would hurt me. He wrote that he planned to go to Louisiana and take some slaves with him, and I would be one of them. My mistress would stay behind, so I wouldn't have to worry about her. He promised to be kind to me if I deserved it. He asked me to think about it and give him an answer the next day. The next morning, I was asked to bring a pair of scissors to his room. I put the scissors on the table with his letter beside them. He thought I had given my answer, so he did not call me back. I went, as usual, to take my young mistress to and from school. He saw me in the street and told me to stop at his office on my way back. When I went inside, he showed me the letter and asked why I didn't answer it. I said, "I belong to your daughter, so you can send me or take me wherever you want." He said he was happy I was willing to go and that we would leave in the autumn. I thought he was only trying to scare me and didn't really plan to go to Louisiana. But I decided that I would never go with him. Summer passed, and in the autumn, Dr. Flint's oldest son went to Louisiana to look at the land, because they were thinking of moving there. This news didn't worry me, because I knew I wouldn't go with him. Dr. Flint had not sent me to the plantation yet because his son was there, and he was jealous. He was also jealous of the overseer, which is why he didn't send me to work in the fields. I couldn't feel proud of these protectors. Young Mr. Flint did not bring back good news about Louisiana, so I didn't hear about it anymore. Soon after, my lover met me on the corner of the street, and I stopped to talk to him. When I looked up, I saw my master watching us from his window. I hurried home, shaking with fear. I was called right away to go to his room. He said in a mean voice, "When is your mistress getting married?" Then he cursed at me. I was so thankful that my lover was a free man and that my master couldn't beat him for talking to me on the street. Again and again, I thought about how all of this would end. There was no hope that the doctor would let me go, no matter what. He was stubborn and wanted to keep me and control me. My lover was a smart and religious man. Even if he could marry me while I was a slave, the marriage wouldn't protect me from my master. It would make him sad to see the way my master treated me. If we had children, they would be born slaves like me. That would break his heart. Because of him, I felt that I should not ask him to stay with me. He was going to Savannah to take care of some property his uncle had left him. Even though it was hard, I asked him not to come back. I told him to go to the free states where he could speak freely and his intelligence would be more useful. He left me, still hoping that one day I could be bought. But I had no hope. The dreams of my young years were gone. I felt lonely and sad, but I wasn't completely alone. I still had my good grandmother and my loving brother. When he put his arms around me and looked into my eyes, I felt like he could see the pain I couldn't talk about. I felt lucky to have something to love. But that feeling was quickly lost because I knew my master could take him away at any moment. If my master knew how much we loved each other, I think he would enjoy separating us. We often talked about how we could escape to the north, but as my brother William said, it's easier to say than do. My movements were always watched, and we didn't have any money to pay for our journey. As for my grandmother, she was very against the idea of us escaping. She remembered how much Benjamin had suffered and feared that if another one of her children tried to escape, they might suffer even more. But for me, nothing seemed worse than my life as it was. I said to myself, William must be free. He will go north and I will follow him. Many other slave sisters have had the same plans.